Hi guys, welcome back to this Zero to Hero with mainly econ content. So for the start of this video, I thought I'd give you a little bit of a breakdown of what I do when I have some spare time to play and I can do transport runs instantly and I don't really need to wait for buy orders to fill. So currently I'm in Thetford and I'm just kind of checking the average prices out of the items. So let's take a look at an example here. So we see the soldier helmet. The estimated value is 522 and I realized there's a lot of them on the market for a lot less than that. So I put up a buy order for, how many did I put up a buy order? 150. I collect all of those and then I move to scholar robes and I do the exact same. The reason I do this is because I have a lot of spare time to play. I don't really want to get the items necessarily for the cheapest value possible because I'm gonna make a profit regardless. Now let's look at an example of the markups I'm getting on these items. So I think I spent around 400 to 700 depending on the item for each of them. And yeah, the scholar cars are selling for 2k per. And the soldier helms, I think I spent like 400 for those. They're selling for 1.5. The scholar robes, I should have said Carl's. The scholar robes I bought for about 700 and they're selling for 2.1k per. Let's take a look at, I can't remember what I bought the soldier armors for, but I mean, I'm assuming around 600 silver, and they're selling for 1.5k basically. So that's just an insane markup. That's just an example. However, you can't do this content too much, unfortunately, because obviously the black market can only handle so many items. So the next step for me is diversifying a little bit so that I can make even more profits with my time. Okay, so let's look at what I did to diversify. I put up buy orders for all the tier 3 items because they're always worth it. Let's just quickly have a little example here. The average price is 452 and we can at the moment, we can't really buy them at the moment for discounted price, but we can put them up 400, so that's already quite a steal. And like I said earlier, they were selling for about 1.9k on the black market, which is like I said, it's money dupe. It's super easy. So I did all the tier 3 items. I'd place buy orders for them. I think the quantities were between 100 and 250 depending on the item. I then moved to tier 4 items. I did all the plate helmets and armors and boots. I think some of them 0.1, some of them I didn't do 0.1. I stopped at the relics because it isn't worth it to really buy out of the relics. They're not going to sell on the black market as much, so I stay away from them. And I did the exact same thing with the cloth armors. I stayed away from the relics once again. Did mage robes, scholar robes, and 0.1s, and then cleric robes a little bit. And then I started with some I also did obviously with the leather armors. Did the exact same thing as the other ones, and then I switched to tier 5. So the reason I switched to tier 5 in Thetford and only on the leather armors, I think I put a couple up as well for the cloth armors, but the reason for that being in Thetford we have leather armor bonus for when you're crafting them. So more people are going to be crafting leather armors here because they get a increased return rate. So that's kind of where you're going to get the cheapest leather armors for the highest quality. For the highest quantity, I mean. And then if you look at Martlock, just if you want to do it from a different city, they have plate shoes. So if you want to buy plate shoes and transport them, Martlock's going to be the cheapest. And then the last example, Bridgewatch, if you want to, plate armors. So plate armors and Bridgewatch will be the cheapest and have the highest quantity on the market. So that's kind of your best bet. So the reason for this is just diversifying profits. I want to transport as many items as I can to the black market and have as many of them bought at a time as possible. Like I said earlier when I was talking about the tier 3 items, they only sell, I think they sell like between 100 and 200 an hour, or sometimes less, sometimes a little bit more. So I can only really sell so many of them in one day, and obviously there's competition. So the more people who do it, the lower the prices go, the more on the market. So doing tier 5 and 4's items is essentially the only way for me to increase my profits. That being said, if you're starting out, I would stay away from tier 5 and tier 6 items. The reason for this being, if you're going to transport a bunch of these armors, you're going to be transporting, let's say you're transporting 1 million silver worth of tier 4 and 5 items. Now you're going to hit a snag. You get ganked and there's 1 million gone. Or on the upside, you make it to the city. Instead of making a very high profit percentage, you're maybe going to make, I'm not sure exactly of the amount, but I'd assume anywhere from 300 to 500, maybe 600k silver on the million you risked. Now, if we take a look at the tier 3 items, you're going to be making from a 500 or 400k risk, you're going to be making almost a million profit. So the profit percentages are a lot lower on the high tier items, but at the point I'm in currently on this account, I don't really have other options. So that's kind of why I'm diversifying items. In the next video, I'll go over exactly how I'm going to be upscaling this even further, but that won't be relevant for the rest of this video. So I left the buy orders up overnight, and this is kind of how it looked like the next morning. Obviously, I had to take down a lot of buy orders because not all of them were filled, but I mean, there was quite a lot of items that were filled that were all bought at a much cheaper price than market value and will sell even higher on the black market. So yeah, I'm just gonna show you guys what I did, and then in a couple of seconds I'll show you guys the end results. Let's get into the breakdown for this episode. So we're sitting at about 10 mil if I had to guess. It's probably a little bit more, but I'm not 100% sure. I've got buy orders up in quite a few places, and I've got stuff selling on Albion, but let's just say 10 mil. So we have this tab, liquid silver, and then the buy orders and the stuff selling. So I think we started off the session with 4.8 mil, so that's about 5.2 mil profit, probably a little bit more. But I'm gonna be giving rough breakdowns at the end of each session, but I'm not gonna go too in depth because we're gonna start upscaling quite a bit now, and it's just gonna be a bit too much to track. I'm not gonna bore you guys with the footage, but I'm currently also speccing up my refining a little bit. The goal for that is as soon as we get enough for premium, probably around actually 35 more, we're going to get premium and we're going to start refining, and then we'll upscale it to alt accounts eventually. But I'm not really going to, this series is essentially later on going to turn into a multiple account type of series, and it's just going to be here to kind of show you guys the journey, take you guys along on the ride, and teach you guys some new tips and tricks, hopefully with each video, and just to show you that you can literally, with playing decently smart and playing like an hour a day, or you can even play less, just playing whenever you can, you can build quite a big econ in Albion. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video, learned something new, and I hope to see you guys all in the next one. Peace.